Hello and welcome to the Sim Racing Corner. This is the new Moza Racing GS V2 GT racing wheel. The first thing I need to tell you, this updated version of the GS wheel with the V2 moniker only has a single new feature, and that is compatibility has been added to support the Moza R5 wheelbase, where before the GS and other wheel rims in the Moza range were not compatible with the Moza R5. In all other respects, the GS and the GS V2 are identical. You'll find that Moza has now updated all their wheels to V2 editions for the exact same purpose. So if you've recently purchased a Moza wheel and the rim is not labelled as V2, don't worry, you're not missing out on anything. There's no new features that will make a difference to you. Now that's cleared up, let's get into some details. The GS is 290mm wide and weighs just under 1.6 kilograms. The 4mm forged carbon fibre face not only gives it its unique look, but also provides the basis for its rigid frame. The rear enclosure is plastic, and the other raised features on the front and the buttons and dials are also plastic pieces. The quick release as well as the magnetic shifter and dual clutch mechanisms are aluminium, finished off with carbon fibre paddles. The grips are covered with Alcantara. It's a synthetic suede alternative. It's a durable material with a soft and grippy surface, but unlike suede, over time you won't need to brush it to restore the texture. Just as I would recommend using gloves with suede covered wheels, I would also recommend the same with Alcantara as well. We have a good selection of inputs on the wheel. The buttons have a positive tension and click, very much feeling like high quality knitter switches. The rotary dials have solid detents. Each time you feel and hear that click is a single input from the rotary encoder. And of course they spin in both directions, so that's two inputs for each dial. The keycaps are pre-labelled. They are printed on and can't be changed, but Moza has included a sheet of labels so you can customise the layout. The buttons are backlit, as you can see here, and you get your first glimpse of the engine RPM light just above the Moza logo. You'll see that working fully later in the video. Those metal shifters are quite loud and some users may find that distracting. As a solution, rubber pads are provided to dampen those sharp clicks. Heading briefly over to the Moza Pits House software, we're able to change the operation of the inputs. I'm not going to plough into heavy detail here. You can see what the screen offers, so it's easy to follow and provides a useful set of custom options. Also, you can test all the inputs to make sure they are functioning. For the dual clutches, you're just a biting point in the Moza software. If you're not planning to use those clutch paddles, you can turn them into regular button inputs by changing the mode. Overall, a well fleshed out set of options for the GS wheel can be found in the Moza Pithouse software. The colours of the backlit buttons can be changed by following this simple process. Press in and hold both the shoulder rotary encoders until the RPM strip flashes. And then press the button you want to change. Keep pressing the button to rotate through 9 colour options. Once you've finished customising the colours on your buttons, hold in the rotary encoders again, as you did at the start, to lock it in. The button lights appear to be pulsing here. This is just caught on camera and not actually happening. The lights are solid when you have the wheel in front of you. Hopefully you've had a good flavour of the GS wheel so far, seeing it close up. Right now we're running it on the Moza R5 wheelbase, and clearly it is working just fine, so job done. Sure, you could question whether matching a premium wheel like the GS makes any sense on the budget Moza R5. Well, that's for individuals to decide. The purpose of updating the GS is to bring continuity across the Moza range of wheels and wheelbases, and that makes perfect sense and avoids confusion. The GS is labelled as a GT style wheel, but of course it's just as well suited for formula racing and prototypes. At 290mm, the handling is agile, it's solid, and the grip is ergonomic and comfortable. There's nothing I don't like here. It is a fine piece of hardware. The low profile of the wheel means I can see more of the screen behind the wheel, useful for being able to see the on-screen dash of the car. And if we swap wheels, you can see the difference that makes. From my point of view, the on-screen dash is obscured by the rim here. I have the GS mounted to the Moza R9 wheelbase now, and I also have the Moza CM Dash mounted to the wheelbase. From my seated position, that screen is perfectly in my sights. This is a good working combination. The Moza Racing GS GT wheel is a premium product and priced accordingly. Just like other premium tier sim racing gear on the market, it's not cheap, but you get what you're paying for, high quality components and the solid build quality you'd expect when you're paying this much. That said, compared to other similarly spec'd wheels on the market, the GS is likely to be cheaper than the competition. With its dual clutch operation, RGB RPM strip light and RGB backlit buttons, I do feel you're getting more for your money than the competition here. And that's Moza all round. With the products I've tested from their range, they don't cut corners and cheap out with their components. They just manage to give you quality and performance within what I consider fair pricing. The GS is high-end and never going to be cheap, but I do think it's reasonable for hardware of this standard. If you have a Moza wheelbase and you have your sights set on the Moza GS wheel, I think you're going to be happy with this one. It is a fine piece of hardware. I'm really liking it and do expect to see it frequently on my channel when I'm using my Moza wheelbase. Yeah, it's a keeper for me. And that's it for this one. Thanks very much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. So until next time, happy simming and bye-bye.